Hi, welcome to this first look at Race League. So Race League is a PC only title. It's in early access on Steam at the moment. It's retailing for around about £20, although I believe at the present time as I'm recording this there is a 10% discount on that, so you can pick it up for about £17.50. So what exactly is Race League? Well, it's an arcade-styled racing title that is designed and built on the Unity platform, whose main focus is to allow you to build your own circuits and share your own circuits using an inbuilt track editor, and then actually have some reasonably strong physics behind it, offer wheel support, and then focus heavily on online racing. So that's what it aims to do. Now, looking at whether it actually manages to achieve that, and keeping in mind that this is early access, so this isn't a full review. I'm not going to do a full review of a product in early access. That will be a silly thing to do. What do we basically get here? Well, all of the tracks are user-driven content, so that's something you have to understand for a starting point. So that's where all of the tracks are coming from, but we get three cars in here to start off with. One is basically a blatant Porsche 911 rip-off. One of them is an open wheeler, I would imagine probably around about a Formula 3 by the looks and the handling of it, and the other one is blatantly a rip-off of a Ford Fiesta rally car of some spec. It's a deliberately cartoony type approach visually to the racing genre, and it's not one that I dislike. The interiors are fairly low res in that regard and basic, but it is on the roadmap to fix that. So, you know, in terms of the vehicle models, there's only three of them. They suit the aesthetic. There's going to be the ability to upload your own liveries coming soon as well. That's again on the roadmap. And in terms of how they drive, yeah, they drive okay. There's nothing really wrong once you take into account that this is not a, you know, ultimate in simulation value here. We're talking an arcadey racer. In all honesty, here it drives okay. You can actually map your wheel to it. The wheel mapping is reasonable. The force feedback is okay. You know, it's not particularly bad in that regard. It's not particularly great. It's okay. Yeah, you know. And I don't have any issues with that at all. Where things start falling down is, however, the fact that it is really rough around the edges. Even for early access, it is rough around the edges. And that shows in a number of ways. One, the tutorial for actually creating your own tracks in the track editor. It doesn't help you a great deal. I'm sure it's a really powerful tool, but in the short time I played around with it, it wasn't really helping me to do what I needed to do. It's not as intuitive as it could be in that regard, which is a shame. Hopefully that will improve. You know, better people than me have been able to get some good tracks out there, and I've enjoyed driving some of them. But perhaps the single biggest issue with Race League, and considering the fact that this is supposed to be an online racing title, that's where they're going to focus, this is online competition, is despite being built on Unity, it's appallingly optimized. It really is. Now, when I've just got one car on track doing a test drive, no problem at all. I can hit 60 frames per second, but depending on the layout of the track and how it's been built, the pop-up is absolutely horrendous. You can actually, with banked corners, see the banking being built in front of you, which is really disconcerting, particularly as you're trying to learn a track for the first time. It's just horrible in that regard. And it gets worse when you've got more than one car on track. Now, you know, this is a Unity engine title we're talking about here. My 1660 Ti should be able to run that. Hell, it more than runs other Unity racing titles with multiple cars going on complex tracks. You know, it doesn't have an issue with that. Stuff like, you know, the NASCAR Heat titles, it will run those without breaking a sweat. This, it will drop down to 30 frames per second the second you stick some AI on there. The AI, by the way, is appallingly brain dead, appears to have some really unpleasant rubber banding, and it's just horribly optimized. It really is from that point of view. And the problem is, if you're going to try and build a racing title around online where it's going to be competitive, the one area you can't balls up is that you've got to have something that is optimized, people can run, that they don't need stupidly powerful graphics cards to be able to run a Unity title, for crying out loud. That's insane. So it falls down massively in that regard. It really does. I mean, they do get some props. The damage model's actually really nice and works really well on the cars, but you know, that doesn't matter. You know, they can have a good damage model, the cars can be modeled reasonably well in their cutie little cartoony arcade style. You know, the physics can be a nice accessible arcadey model. You know, the wheel support can work with, you know, passable force feedback. None of that matters a damn if you're trying to race against people and the frame rate is absolutely bottoming out and you've got a track that's literally being built graphically in front of you. It falls on its arse massively as a result. So yeah, at the present moment where Race League is, if you are going to step into it, be aware that when they say early access, they really do mean early access. Now, I'm going to keep an eye on it. We'll see how it goes as they start building on the roadmap that they put in place for this. But I'm going to be honest with you, I'm hoping they can make some big changes fairly quickly, because otherwise this could be a title that ends up being dead on arrival. So that's my first look at a Race League. If you found this useful, please do hit the like button, and as always, if you want to see more content like this, please do subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be notified when new content gets uploaded. Thanks very much. Take care.